This show is so funny. I got an amazing cast. What was it like being on set with four comedy legends?
Intimidating.
Yeah, intimidating for me for sure,
Just
but fun.
emotional paralysis. Couldn't find language.
Yeah. Oh,
Sweating. Just a lot of hot flashes.
shaking of hands, shaking hands.
Of sides.
It's like holding a glass.
Just a lot of like a lot of people saying action, action,
Yeah.
and then just not responding.
No, you never said your lines.
I never ever
Which
opened
was
my
hard.
mouth.
It was hard to continue in the face of
I can only imagine how much fun you guys had on that set. Like, it just sounds like it would have been a blast. Kathryn, talk to me about working with Will and Paul again since Anchorman. What was that like?
I know. I mean, we got to have like a little rehearsal before it started, and I like kind of just fell apart a little bit, and I was like, I cannot believe that full circle I'm back here with you guys like this in this capacity, and you're having me in this. I'm so grateful just to be able to play with you in this capacity, because you know, in those movies it was the dudes, and you know, we didn't have like the meaty stuff to do together. And so to be able to like have this meaty, deep relationship with Will and meet him on this level at this stage in my life was so meaningful to me, and to witness him as such an beautiful actor, and Paul too. Like, we've worked together a lot, but I've never seen this side of him. And you know, we do a scene together in this that I was like one of those scenes where you walk away and you're just like, so it was like really, really a treat.
I love that. What was it like when you first met them? Do you remember that moment?
I do. I was on Saturday Night Live and they both hosted, and so I met them kind of in that way, and we were in so many kind of just silly sketches together. But I've known Will over the years. You know, he used to run Funny or Die, and so I did so many like sketches, skits, whatever you call them, videos,
so
and was always just, I mean, he's really the god in the comedy world, but both of them. So it was so right when I met them, I was like, oh, I just love them, and they're so nice.
I love it. I love it. Now, this story is wild and it's real and it's awesome. What was your guys' first reaction when you heard this story?
I mean, we both listened to it like way before getting the script, like way before knowing it was even gonna be something. We just listened to it as like, I guess, podcast fans. Yeah. So this was like years and years ago that I listened to it, and I was like, ugh, flabbergasted, like that it could possibly happen, that it seemed so like close to something possible. You know what I mean? Like the crime wasn't like, it was just like, oh my God, like you could see it slowly happening over time. And yeah, so I was really it was one of those podcasts that I couldn't stop listening to.
Me too.
I think that was a lot of people who listened to it. People were just so fascinated to it. Why do you think they're going to be so excited for the show, listening to the podcast and then seeing the show now?
Well, I remember when I read the scripts for this, I kind of thought the exact same thing, and then I was so blown away by Georgia Pritchett's her scripts in the writer's room. I mean, it's even more rich and incredible, you know, and my character, for instance, Paul's wife, I wasn't in the podcast, and she's just created this world. It's both funny and dark, and I was blown away. I think it's not in comparison to, but she's just done such an amazing job filling everything out.
Yeah, she's like lifted the reality of the podcast as an inspiration into this story that feels so related to, but it's kind of has filled in so many emotional blanks.
Totally. I completely agree with everything you both just said. How did you guys research? I mean, Casey, I know you just said your character was put into the script, but Kathryn, how did you research your character? Were you able, well, I know Will and Paul met the real life Marty, but how were you able to research?
I was able to Zoom a couple times with Phyllis, and she was amazing and open and really generous with her storytelling and her experience of how this all went down for her from her perspective. And yeah, so I treasured those phone calls, and I just kept her essence in my heart as I went forward, and tried to keep her in mind at every turn while we were making the show. I mean, I think she would say I swear too much in this.